And hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you for another amazing time together here for Facebook Live here on the Rock Your Sacred Purpose group. And we're talking about awakened sales, embracing your steel and fire. And I'm inspired to share this today because of all the people I work with that I ask them, what aspects of themselves are they not including on the elemental scale? We'll get into what that is. What do the people say? People say they're not utilizing their steel energy or their fire energy consistently. Consistently. So I've seen this again and again for the spiritual entrepreneur, light leader person that they're really lacking in this area. So we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to talk to you about why you're not embracing your steel and fire, and a little bit about what you can do about it. Of course, I'm going to do some channeled messages. I'm going to do some really brief energy scans. If there's people that want energy scans here today, brief tuning in around the fire and steel stuff. See what's going on with that for you. And so yeah, looking forward to being with you for the next 25-ish minutes or so, maybe a little longer than that. So let's get into it. All right. So again, I've been seeing this issue for so long. I've been working with healer light leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs for many years. And what are what are they comfortable with as a group? This our tribe. What are we comfortable with? We're comfortable with peace and love and you know cuddly cute maybe cute cuddly like stuffed animals that I don't know, like with love, like I mean, like just all the soft stuff, right? I mean, who's going to judge the air and the water? I mean, the air and the water is fine. No one's cursing the air and water, I don't think, very often. I mean, not usually. So, but when it comes to, whoa, we got the steel coming in, we got the fire, all right, now it could excite someone, but it could also be like, wow, that steel can cut me. I'm a little afraid of that, or that fire might burn me up. So these are just even on a basic level. Why would we be we're more concerned with those things? Water. I guess you could be afraid of drowning in the water, but in terms of it running through your own energy, there's really not that much concern. Although sometimes for some people, the steel and fire comes in and says, "Wait a minute, you're too flowy" or whatever, right? So, but anyway, we have this whole. We embody everything, right? We're connected with everything. Is what I'm trying to say. And we want to get really embodied in everything. So we have all these elementals that we could talk about. I'm just going to talk about four today: air, water, steel, and fire. And I'm not going to talk much about air and water because you're probably good there, most of you. Talk about a little bit as it relates to steel and fire, but I'll just talk about those four elementals. And so, yeah, today I wore the perfect shirt for it: peace, love, like four different ones, and rock and roll, right? All of it. So, if this were maybe air, this were maybe water, this rock might be what steel, roll might be, I don't know, fire, maybe, I don't know. So it's got all the goodness right there. And so, what are the issues and how do they show up? Okay, so how do you know you have these issues? You probably feel you have a massive calling of some sort to help people, but you don't feel like you're anywhere near accomplishing that, right? You also probably have utilized these sorts of steel and fire energies, many of you, maybe not all of you, in some sort of toxic way in your life to maybe have success to some level or degree, or to a great degree, and burnt out or saw the ill effects of it in your relationships, your health, or even your career or business is crashing ultimately because of it. So this is all part of the background in this life that you've had with that energy, crashing on you. So you've seen where it gets results, and we've been trained that it gets results, but you saw the shortcomings of getting too into the steel and fire. And if you haven't experienced it in this life, I guarantee you've experienced it. Almost guarantee you've experienced it in past lives. Okay, almost a guarantee. So what are the things? Why do we shrink from it? So again, we'll go into all the reasons. All right. So in our in our past lives, whether it's a past life in our within this life, like how we used to be, or in the past lives before we seem to be waking up and seeing the how it's too much of this or that, which is a whole other reason why we shut it down, is we've seen where those energies can be powerful and we don't trust our power. We don't trust our power because we've misused it and we've seen other people misuse it. And so that is why part of the reason why we hesitate on these energies. So in other words, why don't you do that big, thing you want to do? Why don't you show up in the biggest way possible? Well, you're a little bit concerned about, is people going to call me a fraud? Like, who are you to be speaking up? Or are they going to throw insults at you and their opinions and say you're no good, or you're full of it? I mean, could you be even harmed or killed or vilified? I mean, or ostracized from your people in the world, people you care about, your family, friends, communities, etc., that you're connected with. All these things come in because as we show up more, we feel like we're sucking up space too. Like as you show up, if I'm like, I show up in a room and I'm like, hey, listen to me, and everybody, I'm becoming a leader. Everybody's drawn into my presence, and I'm like, let's go. I this and that and the other thing. I might be like, who am I to speak up, right? I mean, I'm just one of you, and so I might judge that. I might judge like, well, shouldn't I stay with the crowd? I don't want to stick out. I don't want to, get all fired up and everything. And what's the fuss about, right? So we tend to get into this sort of space and a spiritualized kind of energy, and we don't remember like how powerful leaders are. Think about the people that have inspired you. Think about the like so many of them. I mean, Eckhart Tolle maybe somewhat of an exception, but I've seen him getting more animated lately when he talks. Even Eckhart. But think about like the people that probably inspired you the most. At least sometimes in your life, that get on stage and speak. They have this fire and steel. Whether even someone like a Wayne Dyer, it maybe not be the fireballer all the time, but he had that, right? So you think about Michael Beckwith maybe, or whoever you like to follow. I don't know. There's so many people nowadays, but they bring a steel and a fire, and they're not concerned about people like me. If this idea of persecution, they're not so concerned. They're more concerned that they're not going to bring impact. They're concerned they're not going to bring. That becomes more important than I'm worried about being a leader and what that means and getting in their head about it and what kind of ill consequence could come to me. They're more committed to the impact and the difference they can make than they're concerned. So you need to invest and be more concerned about bringing your impact. Stop saying it doesn't matter that much. The right people will come to me eventually, and start bringing more of the steel and fire and seeing how it works out. Yes, there's fears, there's terror, right? Showing up in a bigger way is, like public speaking, for example, number one fear. There's a reason people have been hung for speaking for what they say, right? People are being ostracized and taken off platforms on social media these days. These things happen, but we can't be afraid of it. The truth is this is what I know. When you really embody your steel and fire energy, you cannot really be taken out. You can't really be taken out. And in fact, when maybe everybody else is being deplatformed, maybe you won't be if you really embodied in your steel and fire. And I don't know how to tell you how I know this, other than I know it as truth. I know when we're embodied with who we are, it resonates in the world because the world is who we are, right? We're interconnected. We're one with it. So we need to embrace this steel and fire. And we've just seen a lot of bad examples too, right? In our lives and in society. Here's the people with all steel and fire. They're screwing everybody over, and they're rich, and they don't care how everybody else is suffering. And again, all the usual kind of things that we do in our mind's concepts. But it just because whatever they're doing, it's like you don't have to be toxic steel and fire. It's not that. It's about just being passionate. It's just about being clear and strong in your energy. And yeah, and of course you want to be flexible and be able to go with the water and the wind and the air or whatever, right? You want to have that other energy and let go of everything, like I talk about, like constantly coming back to zero and the whole elemental dance, absolutely. But you need to actually to see growth, to see the greater impact, to experience more joy, to experience more aliveness, to not feel like something continues to be missing. You want to embrace this sense of steel and fire inside of you in your core, like embodied core. I don't know how else to put it, but in your solar plexus maybe, or somewhere inside of you, wherever it comes from for you, feeling these energies and letting them come forward. And while you're connected with your heart, then it makes it enlightened steel, enlightened fire. And hey, we may get really tough with ourselves and others at times. It's okay as long as we keep coming back to that heart space, okay? We keep trying to be perfect and walk this tightrope line with our steel and fire. You're not going to be who you really are. You're not being who you are if you're not showing a little bit more steel and fire in your life. And I would say that's true of anybody, even Eckhart Tolle. Like, I feel like the more, a little bit more spark he's shown over the years, I mean, he seems more authentic anyway. So, to me. But anyway, that's my take on it, on that. But I know 100% it comes down to being like, am I going to be lynched again? Am I going to be burned at the stake? Are people going to leave me? Are people going to say I'm a fraud? Are people? Am I going to wonder if I'm like getting my ego? I'm worried about getting my ego because as people start praising me and condemning me, like I can take the praise to a degree, but maybe even that's dangerous because maybe it's going to feed my ego. There's all these ideas, and the thing is never trust the newspaper clippings, as they say, right? Never trust when they say you're the greatest ever. I mean, never trust that entirely. I mean, like you could feel like you're the greatest ever. Don't get me wrong, but but in a way that's not arrogant, right? Like, hey, I am the greatest, but so are other people, right? Um, so yeah, it's just to embrace it, not to get caught up into it, let it become sticky. That's all. But you need to be okay with things getting sticky and getting messy and chaotic, to make bold claims and stake a claim where maybe you are going to be shown to be wrong. There's a lot of people that are very influential, have made a lot of change that were wrong about certain things. It happens. It happens. People that say, "Hey, I believe this is going to happen next," like say like stock advisors or something. Like, "Hey, the market's going to crash, next year or whatever." They're wrong, but maybe like the 90% of the rest of their advice they give is right on, right? Just because you're going to get something wrong doesn't make you like not worthy to share. So it's okay. You're going to get things so-called wrong. It's to be expected. Even if you're a channel or a psychic or medium or whatever, you're going to supposedly get things wrong. But I don't really believe in that. I feel like we're all finding our way, and as we share our frequency and our energies with each other, everything is revealed. More awakening, more impact, and then you gain more sales because you're actually being who you are, and people respond to that. Yes, they do respond to this like airy, watery presence as well, but there's a lot of steel and fire that's desired in the spiritual realm right now. That's again enlightened steel and fire. So I'm encouraging you guys and me, because the old school model of like just be growling all day and like work 1,000 hours a week okay, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about just feeling that spark and yet finding your natural flow within all of it, right? So there's not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 method today, okay? But the first thing is just to say today is to embrace it. So so I will ask you some questions. How can you embrace more of your fire and more of your steel in your message? Like if you have a message, if you know what your message is, like how can you embrace more of it? How can you bring more of that? What parts of your subject matter can you bring that help evoke that? I mean, for me, talking about steel and fire brings a little more steel and fire into me, right? So like sales can do that. Like when I really get passionate talking about sales stories, like how I've been able to hold presence and be insistent with somebody I knew needed my help and was really ready to shift. I've gotten just so passionate about sharing these stories and how really taking a stand for somebody made all the difference. So, and that so many people in sales don't do that. They just give up. Oh well, they don't want to, work with me. That's not always the best way to go. There's always an exception. So you have to be willing to get all out of your concepts, as always. Get out of your head and feel something deeper. There's been many conversations I've had with people, even on one-to-one basis, clients or people who just knew me, or we were masterminds or whatever. I would even be pounding my fist on the table, believe it or not. Like, I get so passionate. And I even scared some people at times. They think I'm nuts, right? But I didn't concern myself with it too much because it just came through me. And it was, I know there's a concern of going unconscious, but I just really felt it was needed to be communicated in the way it came at the time. And so to this day, I mean, at times that energy comes through in a very powerful way. And I know when I've gone too far because I'll feel it. I'll feel like if something was out of alignment, if I went unconscious, right? And I'm just telling you, it's okay to go unconscious at times. It's part of the process. You can't be afraid of that. As you notice it, then you can become more embodied. But if you never go there, you never are able to take the unconscious and get it embodied, these energies embodied, and then you can be embodied with these energies, these frequencies. I'm saying in this case, steel and fire. Does that hopefully that makes sense. So if you keep saying, well, I don't want it, I'm just going to suppress it, so that because there's suppression, then there's just kind of letting it be expressed, but unconscious, sort of unconsciously. And then there's like getting a little more conscious, that's getting a little more embodied, then there's full embodiment, right? So you want to start letting it be expressed in the first place, hopefully more consciously, but if it doesn't, it's okay, find its way, and let it become more and more embodied, where you feel it in your body, where the source of it really comes from is in your presence in your body, right? So anyway, so I'm pointing the way here for you today. And so how can I bring more of it into my business? So it's how I charge, how I work with my clients, my boundaries with them. How can I bring it in my marketing, my sales process? How can you bring more of it into it? And if you find like it could, honestly, I promise you something. If you actually just do what I just said today, if you focus on this in all those areas, any of those areas probably, like your overall business, your marketing, your sales, like your boundaries with your clients, like what you charge, like all these things, like if you do it in just those 5 areas I just mentioned, for example, if you focus, you write down, okay, how am I employing this in these 5 areas? You look at that list every single day before you go into your workday. If you just do that one process, I promise you, you'll have a more fulfilling business, and you'll have more sales, and you will have more impact. And you'll have more awakening too. You'll be more awake, and you'll be bringing more awakening to people. I promise you, if you actually diligently focus on it, put it in front of you every day, absolutely it's going to transform your business 100%. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share as far as that goes today. And by the way, if you guys want me to tune into your energies overall, if there's something you want me to tune into, that's great. If you want me to tune into your steel and fire, I'm happy to do an energy scan today. Feel free to put it in the comments. Or not, that's okay. If you don't want that, you can private message me, and we could talk about maybe getting together to do some scanning as well. So my big message is just in general, like, hey, start embracing it. I even gave you a specific way to start focusing and embracing it. What do I mean by steel and fire? Again, like just that sense of like, boom, this is happening. Like when you listen to heavy metal, even if you don't like heavy metal, well, that might be telling you something. But if you listen to it, you get that like, rah, like that kind of cutting energy. Fire being like just could be like a passionate like, this wants to happen kind of energy, like I mean, however it comes to you, but utilizing these elements are very important right now. And we need this enlightened steel and fire in the world so the world can wake up. They're needed elements that we need to get into. A lot of times, like, again, myself included at times, in my path, like, oh, just let go of everything, just be here now. There's nothing else to do. And there's some truth to that, but like there's this energy path to navigate too. We're not in some static oneness state that's just like here we are. Like, that would be pretty boring to be in the physical and only be like, oh, here we are, like, right? Here we are. Let's just see what happens. Right? Oh, get steely, get fiery with in an embodied way with what you're desiring in your life and your business and your impact, especially in your purpose, and you'll see greater results. Okay. All right. So that's my message for you today. I didn't see anybody asking for scans today. That's all good. Let me do a scan for the group for anybody that may be listening now or in the future. Around steel and fire, especially. Hold on. I'm just getting the message I'm getting as I'm kind of channeling here is just become more commanding. I think we're afraid of commanding. Like, could you even become commanding of of what you want within yourself? Even the idea of commanding others might seem really strange, but honestly, a lot of people who are here to serve you are wanting a little bit more commanding energy. They're like, your energy is wishy-washy. What do you want? Let me help you. Please just tell me what do you want. And so I can help you in your business. Let's say if you have an assistant in your business, or in your relationships, your spouse or your friends or whatever. They're saying they want to help you, but you're not making it clear. Get a little more command. Hey, I need you here this time to do this and that, please. Okay, thank you, and thank you, by the way. You can be nice about it, but be clear. It's just a matter of being really clear about it. Let's see. Yeah, let go of this victimhood energy, like oh, nobody loves me, and then you're not claiming your own power to have what you want. And it's not. I think the thing where people hesitate sometimes is, again, they think it's ego. I'm going to command it. I'm going to make it happen. It's not about that. It's about letting the energy that's authentically there that wants to command to come through. Like when I tune into like a Archangel Michael, for example, has sort of a more commanding energy for sure. It's just natural. It's not that that energy is egotistical. It's just a natural energy. There is a commanding energy that's natural. So don't get in your head about it, but just notice a commanding energy that wants to come through you. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to become more commanding. Let it burn out your victimhood, and you're like, oh, I don't want to. I'll get my ego. I just little old me, or I don't know, so lonely, or whatever it is. So, all right, hold on. Yeah, just remember, like, open your heart. Just make sure, just let your heart be so wide open that whether you're commanding or you're being soft and really airy and windy or whatever, a combo of it, that, your heart is felt. And I find people can hear me at any octave of energy if they feel my heart. It works if you're in your heart. Okay, if you feel like you're slipping out of your heart and you're in your head or you're somewhere else in your pain body, that's different than, but it's okay if it happens. Just come back. Find yourself back in your center and back in your heart. Okay, those are some quick messages for today. Let me see if I can get one or two channeled messages before we leave. Oh, by the way, thank you, Karen, for your wonderful comment. Yes, bring it. Let's bring it. Get a message for you, Karen. Bring your creativity and fun self to the world. That's your badass self. Bring your creativity and fun to the world. You're a genius with creativity. People are like, well, it's like this, it's like that. And you're like, wait a minute, I see it totally differently. And to help them see it differently, to liberate and awaken them. So that's my channel message. Specifically for Karen Perry. Let's see what else comes through. Oh, la 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 la. Okay, I don't necessarily. Okay, I'm just having fun here. Okay. Okay, Archangel Michael. Feel my sword and steel flowing through you, connecting you with the earth. Know you are safe. You are protected always. Be who you are intended to be. Cut through illusions and lies. The minute you sense that wavy, like this wavy weird energy is kind of how it's coming to me. So it says cut those cords immediately. All right. All right. What else? Master Jesus, feel lonely no more. Come back into the Sacred Heart. The well is deep and infinite and eternal. Fire, the air, the wind, the earth, all the elements of the planet work in harmony and unison as you embody the love in your heart. You're experiencing who you are, and you're loving all of you and all life. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. I love that message. Okay, well, we're going to need to wrap it up. Brian's here today. Good to see you again, Brian. People seem to always look to me for leadership guidance, and even if I'm not trying, I wonder if that's what sense, that kind of energy. If that's what sense, what kind of energy? What kind of energy is that? Well, you're meant to lead, Brian. I mean, so utilize. Now that is natural. I'm a natural leader too. People tend to want to come to me for leadership. Yeah, I'm like the person that tends to take the lead in groups, right? I'm not always extroverted, but I am that person. So you feel similar. You're a natural leader, but maybe you're not a super extrovert or anything. So just be, you know, take take the reins. You know, embody the power that you have to lead people to victory, so to speak, whatever that might mean to you. So. Okay, I don't know if I answered your question at all, but I'm grateful that you're here. Okay, all right, awesome. So glad to be with you all today. Lots of love and blessings to you all. Look forward to being with you. It's gonna be off the next couple Mondays, so I'll see you in about 3 weeks. Right? But we'll do another one of these soon. In the meantime, keep on tuning in here at here on the Rock Your Sacred Purpose group and interact with us, and let's rock it together. All right, lots of love and goodbye for now.